today we are going to have some fun, and I am going to show you how to slap the bass. I'm going to show you how to actually do it, okay? The techniques required, and I'm going to break down 4 of the most influential slap artists of all time. So you ready? Let's do this together, okay? First of all, why do you even want to slap the bass? Why should you care? I think it's awesome, right? It was sort of like, it kind of fell out of fashion, maybe in the 2000s, but I feel like it is just such a celebration of the bass. You have to know how to do it, and I feel like it shows up. And look, if you're watching the video, you probably want to do it. But listen, don't be one of those people that's like, oh, I don't like slap. If it's because you can't do it, okay? I've done that before where I've said like, I don't like this. I don't like this certain thing because I was insecure. We're gonna get rid of all of that today, okay? So, hey, grab a bass. I have my Mike Lull. I am a 4 right here, a 2 pickup bass. This is essentially a hybrid between a jazz bass and a Thunderbird. I have probably medium age nickel wound, round wound strings on this bass. And check it out. Slapping doesn't have to be super crazy or intense or convoluted. It can just groove. So I'm going to show you the technique for actually hitting the bass that I think is super useful. Take your thumb, no matter what shape or size your thumb is, give this a try. We're going to actually try to run our thumb straight through the string. So instead of angling it down and bouncing it away, that's how some players do it. And it's not that that's bad, but it's limiting, which you'll find out soon. Okay, check it out. I'm going to go straight through. I'm actually hitting kind of somewhere in between that bone. I'm not actually just using the bone of my knuckle. I'm kind of like somewhere in between that bone and the tip of my thumb. And check it out, when I land, I'm actually landing on the adjacent string, on the A string. And it's a big sound, especially when you apply it to the other strings. Check it out, D string. That's such a bigger sound than this. Right? This sound is so pingy and anemic. That, huge. G string. Now for the G, I do something a little different. I'm actually, there's no other string to land on, right? So I'm running straight through and landing on the body of my bass, or a pick guard, or whatever you have, right? But the stopping point is the body of the bass. So try that across all the open strings. And as we go, you guys, of course, we've made a PDF of all of the tab and notation. It's in the description. It's absolutely free. So be sure to grab that if this stuff is sort of like flying by too quickly for you. So that's a great way to start, okay, with running your thumb through the string. Now, the next thing we need to do is get our pluck together, or our pop. I typically use my index finger. Sometimes I'll use my middle finger on the G string, but you can do whatever feels comfortable to you. And a really nice way to get that started is just playing a note and then an octave. So in this case, I'm playing a G. And it's a nice thing because when you stay down with your thumb, instead of bouncing away, then the up feels nice and natural to get the pop going, right? You can almost think about it like kick and snare. You know, so if you've got kick drum and then your pop is the snare. Sometimes people will ask me too, how do you need your action to be? And I find that it can be a tolerance. It doesn't have to be super low, but it shouldn't be crazy high. You should err on the side. If you want to slap the bass, set your bass up to where you have, medium to low action. You just don't want it so high that you can't get that strike sound. But I find that once you get the technique down, you can almost slap any bass. So it's not so much about the setup of your instrument as it is about just getting that thumb happening, okay? And the pluck. If you're enjoying the video, kind of a return to the old school, just face to camera instruction, actually showing you how to mechanically do this stuff on the bass, please do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel. It lets us know that you want more of this kind of thing. Almost every slap groove is based on this pattern that I'm going to show you right now, called the open hammer pluck. That's the 3-note version, or the open hammer thump pluck. So you can kind of think of it this way. If we do dead strings, that's the open hammer pluck. Open hammer pluck. Open hammer thump pluck sounds like this. Open hammer thump pluck. So open hammer pluck, open hammer thump pluck. Now I'm doing it on dead notes. Let's apply that, though, to actual notes. So if we go open hammer pluck, check that out. Now we've just played a G octave. Open hammer pluck. Bass face helps always, of course. Open hammer thump pluck. Open hammer thump pluck. Now that thump I'm doing dead, meaning that I'm just laying my hand across the string to create a dead note. Open hammer dead thump pluck. Now I realized too, when I did the open hammer thump pluck without playing notes, with all just dead notes, there's something I'm doing that I should tell you about. The left hand slap. Now, if you use your left hand to hammer on a note, that's called a hammer-on. But there's another thing that you can do with your left hand. You take all 4 fingers with your thumb on the back of the neck and smack the strings. Now it looks easy, but it's actually kind of tricky, because if you do too hard, you get a note, or like a weird conglomeration, like sounds like you just put your forearm on a piano, And it's not that. And it's also, you don't bounce it away, because then your whole bass rings. It's not that either. What it is you take all 4 of those fingers and hit the bass. Also, if you do it around a harmonic, you get harmonics to ring. That's why all 4 fingers, or at least these 3, need to be there. Okay, so that's why when I was playing open dead thump, open dead hammer, we call this a left hand slap, right? Open left hand slap, thump, pluck. But it's the same motion as doing open hammer thump, pluck. Right? All dead notes. Now notes. And again, there's a PDF down below that has this stuff for you. Okay, so if it's whizzing by too fast, never fear. You can back up the video, check it out. You can slow it down. Use that YouTube slow down feature to slow it down, or you can grab the PDF with the tab and notation. Absolutely free. It's in the description. Next, we want to be able to apply that open hammer thump pluck with a hammer on. Open hammer thump pluck hammer on. Yeah, that's right. Or what about an open hammer thump pluck pull off? Ooh. That's cool. Put them together. All right. Very cool. Okay. Now, if you have a hold of that, we are almost ready to get into these artists and start breaking down some of these incredible classic slap grooves. Just two more things I want to show you, and then we're going to get right there, okay? The first is you can also strum notes where you take your fingernails and actually hit the bass. Like if you just make a power chord on C, for instance, like you play a C, a G, and a C octave, and just hit that. And what I'm doing is I'm just taking my fingernail and smacking it. That's a good time, okay? And then the last one, and this one's tricky, is double thumb. And I'm actually going to show it to you at the end of the video when we dig into Mr. Victor Wooten. All right, we have a decent foundation now, right? We learned how to slap the bass going through the string, right? It's going to come in handy later for the Victor Wooten thing I'm going to show you. We learned how to pluck, right? We learned how to open, hammer, thump, pluck. We learned how to open, left hand slap, thump, pluck. Okay, we learned how to open, hammer, thump, pluck with a hammer on. And we learned how to open, hammer, thump, pull off with a pluck. So are you ready? We're going to start breaking down some of my favorite, probably your favorite slap bassists as well. It all starts with Larry Graham.
When my mother and I worked together, when I started playing bass, I was 15. We had drums, bass, and piano for a while, and then my mother decided there was going to be no more drums, just bass and piano. So now, to make up for not having that bass drum, I would thump the strings with my thumb, and to make up for not having that backbeat on the snare drum, I would pluck the strings with my fingers. So I'm basically trying to compensate for no drums, playing drums on the bass, and that's really how I came up with the style, out of necessity.
Larry Graham, of course, then went on to be a member of Sly and the Family Stone, played some incredible bass lines, and was kind of got known for doing this thing where he would slap kind of back in the middle of the bass, but his thumb would go through the bass, but he would do one note, like dance to the music, and just kind of create this groove, right? There was something kind of rock and roll about it, something kind of dirty. He would hit hard too. Yeah. Blowing up my preamps over here. But the spirit of that was very, very alive in Larry Graham. And he went from Sly and the Family Stone to then doing his own thing called Graham Central Station. And he recorded, I think, one of the coolest and funkiest slap lines of all time. I'm going to show it to you. But before I do, I'm going to let Larry show it to you. This is Hair by Larry Graham, Graham Central Station. Check this out. That tone. Old school. When I first heard this, I had no idea what the drums were going to do. Get ready.
People ask me everywhere.
Time.
They say, is that really all you have?
No one asked me this question ever.
I just tell them if it ain't
Groove so hard.
right. Oh, well, it sure don't mean that now I can't.
Oh my God. Okay, so check it out. Larry Graham is playing this on the bass. I mean, it's a work out, right? And it changed over the years. Sometimes he just plays, like there's a video of him playing. You know, like just smashing the bass, playing so hard. But let me just break it down, play it a little slower, and show you that first record version of Hair, okay? So we're gonna start on the octave E. Let's get that down. We're gonna play. Okay, so check it out. Octaves, right? And we're gonna play. Right there, we're seeing all those techniques happen. We've got octave, thump, dead slap, right? And then we have open, hammer, pluck. Come on, I told you it was happening. And then thump, pluck, right? And then those are all just plucks, thumps, and plucks. And that second phrase, that phrase he does right there, has changed over the years, but I didn't play it correct right there. I believe it's this on the record. That's it. So when you get to there, you actually have to shift to get yourself in position for this. And that was my error that I didn't do. And there we go. Look. Pull off, E slap, hammer on. And again, you guys, if this is going by too fast or if it's crazy, you can always rewind, slow down, or absolutely grab that tab and notation for free in the description. If you feel like you want to take slap more seriously, like if you're hearing this and you're thinking, yeah, I want to learn a couple riffs, but I really would love to dive in, SBL has created the best resource online. We break slap bass down into its individual components. We go deeper than I'm going today, far deeper. We co-teach it. We do breakout weeks where we talk about artists, and the whole thing is under $200. I think it's like the best value on the internet for slapping. It's called the Slap Bass Accelerator, and we only run it once a year. We're running it right now. slapwithsbl.com. Check it out, slapwithsbl.com for more info. Now we're going to move on to one of the absolute undisputed champions of slap bass, Mr. Marcus Miller. Marcus came up playing with Miles Davis, David Sanborn. I know him as a solo artist. He is an absolute phenomenal bass player, slap bass player, but also composer, songwriter. But check him out. So young, playing with David Sanborn. It's absolutely unbelievable. This is called Run for Cover. Okay. RIP David Sanborn, jeez. Just a phenomenal player, phenomenal band. This era of David Sanborn is just crazy. So Marcus Miller is playing this incredible bass line. Let me see if I can do it. So, and it's changed throughout the years, right? The way he played it here versus the record version versus the way he plays it now is totally different. So it's not about getting every single thing right, because there is no right. There's just the way Marcus does it today. I've watched so many videos, and every place he does it a little differently, treats sections a little differently. So I'll kind of show you my version. Also, if you go try to find this online, every bass teacher teaches it differently, but check it out. Here we go. It's so fun, and it's nasty. That is nasty to get down. I will slow it down for you, but remember, you got that PDF down there. If I tried to break down each bar of this, we'd be here all dang day. Nobody wants that. Check it out. There's a few things, though, that I have to say are so signature about this. I mean, when you hear this, that sounds like Marcus Miller, right? That lick. I feel like when people quote Marcus Miller, that's the lick. So let's at least break that down. All we're doing, we're running down an E minor scale or a G major scale, same thing. And it's not anything fancy. It's just slaps and slides. But here's the deal. Remember when I said doing that parallel thumb through the string as opposed to thumb down is really going to be helpful? If you play thumb down, it sounds so sad. It's like ping, 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 ping. Versus, because that, you're actually like swiping through the string. Right? And so slowly. So I'm taking my whole hand and I'm muting the strings here. You could do it that way or use your fingers. But if I use my first finger to slide down, then I'm getting these fingers in front to mute the bottom strings, okay? Let's see how I would do it. Let's see. Right? So that's one. The other thing, that thing when he goes, the triplet thing, like that. So for the longest time, I wondered if that was like some double pop thing, some secret voodoo sauce that was sprinkled on the bass, you know, and I've seen people teach this where it's like, oh, you know, we're double popping and we're doing this crazy thing, but it's not actually that at all. And in fact, Scott did a video with Marcus and he broke down what he does. He just plays this. It's literally just thumb, pop, thumb. Like thumb, pop, pop. Right? So, right? Thumb, dead pop, thumb, then pop of the D. That's it. That's all that thing is. Another icon of slap bass who is huge for me, Mr. Flea. You call him Mr. Flea? Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. There's so much material that you could check out from Flea, but I gotta show you an early clip. Black-Eyed Blonde off of, I believe, Freaky Styley. Yeah. Listen to Flea. When this breaks down, listen to Flea play this groove. I'm gonna show it to you. And you might think, oh yeah, Flea, whatever. No, not whatever. Flea is an absolute monster, and trying to keep up his pace and energy is difficult for anybody. So check this out. Come on. This bass line of all of the ones I'm breaking down is the most difficult for me. I don't play like Flea with thumb down and bouncing away. I'm thumb through guy, right? So playing this way with the speed and stamina that Flea has is really difficult for me. Nevertheless, I gotta do it for you. I gotta do it for the people. Let me show you this line. I will say that is at the edge of my ability. Like I've sat here for a minute trying to get this up to speed and trying to play it as clean, as fast, and as confident as Flea. And I can't do it. It's like, this is like boss level slapping for me. So, hey, check it out. I think if you slow it down, the pieces aren't tricky. It's just getting it up to speed for me that's really difficult. So let me slow it down for you. Very simple components, right? We're hammering on, right? So this is actually the inverse of what I showed you, but it's still the same thing, right? Hammer on, thump, pluck. So it's open, hammer, thump, pluck, right? But we're not starting from an open string. We're hammering on from C to D. And then that thing So dead thumb, pluck, and then 2 dead thumbs, right? And then pluck, thumb, pluck, thumb. Right? And then there, we're going from B to C. Dang. And getting it up to speed is beastly. And again, if it's whizzing by too fast, like it is for me most of the days of my life, go down and get that free tab and notation. It is in the description. Moving on to the next slap bass hero on my list, it is the one and only Victor Wooten. Remember when I told you there was another technique that I was going to show you at the end? It's this one. You ready for this? Check it out. Oh, he's going up and down with his thumb. This blew my tiny mind. Right here, check this out. He's playing all that with his thumb. Going up and down. Mixing in some pops. But the whole groove is based on up and down with the thumb. God, I could sit in this all day. Come on, Victor. Kaler tremolo. Zubas, fedora, plum-colored shirt. B-section. Oh, I could watch it all day long. Look, Victor Wooten is an absolute legend, and we know him for all the pyrotechnic stuff, but sometimes I feel like people forget that he just has an incredible command of like the basic fundamentals of the instrument. Like that pattern he's playing, it's not a difficult pattern. The thumb thing is difficult, but the fact that he's swinging at that tempo, the fact that it's not going it's going like it, and it swings so much harder than I was just swinging with my voice. Like he has command of the basics like no one I've ever seen before, or maybe will ever see again. So let's check it out. I just want you to know that everything that Victor Wooten does is in service of it feeling good, right? Of something grooving really hard. And so this technique that he does, the double thumb thing, where he's going up and down with the thumb, is all in service of the groove. It actually came from the pick. I'll show you that in a minute. You might say, the pick? The devil's toenail? It's true. It's absolutely true. So check it out. Let's just take one note. Like let's take a C. I'm going to show you this bass line, but let's get this down first. So this is why slapping through the string is now incredibly rewarding. It's rewarding for 2 reasons. Number 1, it sounds great on all the strings, as opposed to this. So sad, right? This, crazy. So it sounds great. Also, once you've gone through the string, you are now ready to go up. Check that out. So, I mean, I'm exaggerating the motion. You don't need to bring it up by your head, right? But you go down through the string. Now, check it out. I'm resting on the D string, okay? And now, look, there's a slight angle change. And I'm going to bring my wrist up a bit. Here, let me get this angle so you can see it. So I'm going down, and then look, I'm kind of lifting my wrist, hooking my nail underneath, and bringing it up. It's a subtle motion, but it isn't so much, I'm not doing it with just the thumb. I'm actually using my arm. I'm kind of, using my elbow as the fulcrum. And I'm using my whole arm. My thumb comes into play a little bit, like I'm moving my thumb, but it's not just like, I'm not only using my thumb. It's not coming from the thumb. The power is coming, the strike is coming from my arm. And, okay, settle down, Ian. let's just do a simple groove on one note, right? So if I take C, even slower, like if I just play, if I play eighth notes down like this, okay, kind of that bounce like Larry Graham, then try to throw in some ups. Now I'm kind of swinging it like Victor here to the best of my ability. But if I straighten it out, that would be a nice exercise to try. Maybe we'll tab and notation this for you right here. Grab it in the description. Because really, the whole thing is based on like how you would do this with a pick. If you were playing this groove with a pick, playing the strong beats, the eighth notes on downbeats, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 E and a 1. Then the 4 E and the 16th notes, the 16th note off beats would be up picks, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 E and a 1. That would be like down, 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 up, down, up, down. Same thing with a thumb. So you can take this technique and use it across all the bass lines that you know. You can slap anything with this technique because it's just like playing with a pick. So, you know, the great Anthony Jackson that played, you could do that with your thumb. Right? Or any bass line. You know, thinking about Tony Levin playing Sledgehammer with a pick, you could do that with your thumb. Right? You can do any of this with your thumb. It's so cool. And here is the Victor groove. I'm going to show it to you, right? So this has a ton of variation in it as well, but it's such a great groove to get down. So check it out. It's like this. Right? If I slow it down a little bit, and look, yes, of course, you got that tab and notation in the description. I've said it before, I'll say it again, right? But also, if you see this and you think, ooh, dang, that's funky, just like I did when I saw my friend Chuck do it at Mars Music in 2001, and I was doing some rinky-dink slap thing. I was trying this thing where I was using these two fingers. Oh no. I remember showing up to work. You know, my boss Chuck was like, what have you been working on? I'm like, I'm working on this cool funky slap thing with these two fingers, Chuck, check it out. And I'm like, because no one can do that Victor Wooten thing. Like, that's impossible. And it's weird and it hurts because it does at first. And he was like, oh, you mean like... And I was like, I hate you, Chuck. My thing sounded so cheesy compared to Chuck. Chuck, are you out there? I love it. I mean, I was humbled, but I love it. And I painstakingly changed my technique from bouncing away from the string to going through the string. So instead of bouncing my thumb away, I was now committed to this sound and shape because I wanted the funk, man. I wanted the funk like Victor. I wanted the funk like Chuck. Right? I wanted it. And I worked really hard. And I've got to say, your thumbnail feels weird, and it hurt for me in the beginning. It absolutely was painful. And I thought, I don't know if this is going to last, or like, it might be just like not worth it. But I promise you, the pain actually goes away. You know how like playing with your fingers are sore at first. Same thing when you do that with your thumb. You think, oh no, my nail is going to fall off or it's going to get bloody. No, none of that happens. Your finger just sort of toughens up. And it's fine. I feel like I could play a whole gig double thumbing and it would be fine. Also, the accuracy sucks in the beginning. Just know that. Like, you'll try to play it and it will not feel groovy, but I promise you, if you just keep at it, your brain will learn and tell your hands how to do it correctly. And listen, if you want a hardcore deep dive into this, we break this down over weeks with excruciating detail. Right? And you actually learn how to do it with the Slap Bass Accelerator that SBL has made, that we're offering right now. You kidding me? You can check it out, slapwithsbl.com. Let me say it again, slapwithsbl.com. You know who else changed their entire technique to accommodate this double thumb thing? Mr. Scott Devine. He talks about it in the class. He's a great slapper, but he was always a down thumber, like Flea. Right. And he heard me. I mean, he tells this just hilarious story. And I wasn't trying to do this to him, but he tells this great story of like, I showed up and played. Right. And he was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, it's that Victor thing. And he was like, what? And he couldn't do it. And he's a competitive guy. And he was like, I have to learn how to do this. And then he devoted, probably a good 6 months to do it. And then after he got it, he was like, we got to make a course about this. This is incredible. So look, you can slap the bass however you want, right? But I hope that if you've made it to this point of the video, you really got some value out of thinking about running your thumb through the string, right? And then just the various other techniques, open, hammer, thump, pluck, right? Or hammer, thump, pluck, or hammer, thump, pull off, all that stuff, right? Raking, right? Also, being able just to do the thumb through and pop, all of that, getting that left hand slap to work, and then getting that double thumb thing happening. You guys, I love it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.